Good morning. Welcome back to UTM Building Information Modeling Symposium. I would like to invite Dr. Iza to introduce our first guest speaker for this morning. Dr. Iza, please.
Okay, welcome back, you guys, to UTM-BENTLEY BIM Symposium. So now I would like to introduce our first speaker for today, Miss Madeline Yee. So Miss Madeline Yee has almost 12 years of experience in engineering related to information technology, 3 years technical support for Geographic Information System, GIS, and mapping in solutions for both engineering, construction, and software companies. So over years proven skills, expertise through technical support and hands-on training via pilot to project implementation for civil engineering projects, including land surveying, road and site design, and rail alignment design. Demonstrated ability to interact with clients to establish needs and coordinate solutions. And she also have a very broad understanding of software and IT technologies used to support engineering and construction operation. So her topic for today's symposium is advancing infrastructures through BIM. Welcome, Ms. Mei, to give her speech. Thank you.
Good morning. So, not really a speech, okay? I'm Maylen. I'm based in Singapore, but I'm okay. So I'm honored that I'm talking to you right because in my country I have not given this kind of chance to talk to large numbers of students like you. Okay, and today, okay, so basically, my presentation would actually revolve more on the, okay, so building or advancing infrastructure through, okay, so most of us is common knowledge already of BIM, but to think of it, is it really the real BIM that is being practiced in the industry right now? Okay, so I'm from BIM, same as Narain. Basically, with our company, okay, our mission is to provide innovative softwares and services for the enterprise and professionals, or maybe soon to be professionals like you, and for those who do this, build and okay, most of the world's infrastructure use our solutions. Okay, our aim is basically to sustain the global economy and environment for an improved quality of life. Okay, so much for my company. Okay, so move on. Now, anyone here, maybe a show of hands, who has heard about Bentley before coming into this session?
It's not only the software, you must have changed 3D, its information in that 3D. All right? A lot of us are actually modeling a 3D component. Okay? But the one that you don't see is what information is stored, asset lifecycle. All right? You need to bring BIM towards the end maintenance usage. All right? And that is a continuous life of BIM. It doesn't stop just because you've done a 3D model, you've done a clash analysis, and you stop there. No, that's not a purpose of BIM. All right? All right, so when you go to site, you may ask what component of site is BIM. Of course, there are roads, there are subsurface below roads, so there are many things that involve under BIM. There are surface utilities. There are even cables, there are even street lights. Those are BIM components as well. There are signages. Those are BIM components as well. All right? So these are elaborate meaning of BIM. So the key word that we like to talk about is information. information modeling. Okay. Now, so when you actually look at that particular object, you actually have the relevant. When is this road constructed? Who constructed it? What's the cost of that? When was this beam constructed? What is the grade of that beam? What does it use? All right. Another company, most probably in Australia, is doing the MEP. And there's another company doing many things. You have different skill set. Okay? There's one person who are using Revit. There's one person who are using EcoSync. Okay? So there are many formats are being used in the industry, right? They are located in different offices. They have a different skill set, information, okay? And the key word here is you need to collaborate everything together. All right? So BIM is never, most of the time BIM works with many offices, many companies, many different skill sets. Managing those requirements under BIM is also a challenge, and what we call here is collaboration. All right? So you need to collaborate all this information when you actually work with BIM. In order to deliver BIM, you have the software, you have the skill set of people, okay? You need to manage your resource as well. So it's a whole process, okay? It's not only that if you know Revit, you are already a BIM. No. Okay? In BIM, we have a different definition. You have a BIM drafter. That means you just draft using the CAD. Okay? Whatever tool, whether it's Bentley, whether it's Revit, you call a BIM drafter. And then you have a BIM coordinator who will then coordinate all this information, okay, in different software, different skills. Then you have the BIM manager. All right? So the BIM manager will basically manage everything in sense of setting up the workflow, the libraries, and all those stuff. So you have a basically different level of skill set as well when you're actually managing BIM. All right? So in order to actually understand BIM, you need to be part of that team. You need to be part of the workflow. Okay? So coming back with all this process I've shown you, so BIM, as what we understand, is a coordinated set of processes, okay, supported by technology. As I say, technology can be anything. It can be a Bentley, it can be Revit, and so on, all right? And whereby you use the technology to create, manage, and share. That means if you're a structural guy, once you have done your sharing with the MEP and so on, okay? And basically the whole process of this is to bring it to asset lifecycle. Who's going to use it at the end? The owner-operator. The owner-operator is going to use BIM to do it for maintenance. The whole purpose of BIM. Okay? So this is where Bentley comes in. So Bentley's strength, as I said, you see at the bottom here, information modeling through integrated projects, okay, for sustaining infrastructure. So the whole set of suite that you've seen there basically work with these three concepts. Okay? Now, another thing about BIM is, in industry, you're actually working with many formats. There are guys who are working with Revit, there are guys who are working with CAD, there are guys working with Bentley, with I. So one thing about Bentley software, it is interoperable. We can work with any software that you have data in. If you have a data in Revit, we can work with that. We can bring it in, not a problem. Okay? If you're working with ArchiCAD, we can bring the data in. So we work as interoperable. All right? Another way of working BIM is where you will hear is Federated Information Model. Okay? Federated Information Model. When you do BIM in a big project and you put it in one single file, the size of files become too huge for you to model it. Even if you want to open in your project, become too complicated. How do you expect a guy at site to open up on an iPad to construct it? There's no way you can actually do that. So the BIM that you show is only going to be residing in the office. So in order to overcome that, all right, the federated approach has been recommended, whereby we reference only those information that's required, okay, to form a BIM. So if the guy is going to do structural, he just need to get and reference and look at the reference of the structural component that he want to construct. So it's lighter and easier to look at. But it actually consists of the whole integral project. So it's not isolated, all right? It's still integral for the whole project, but the way it's being worked is federated approach, okay? And Bentley support those kinds of workflow, okay? Generally, if you're talking about the industry, the way industry work, you can actually look into these three categories, which is the design, build, and then you will operate, okay? So these are basically where all these solutions will be playing around. So Bentley covers from design to asset lifecycle, which is the operational, okay? So you can see there are many Bentley software that works in all this area. So if you're going to do concept, there's a concept solution. If you're doing infra, we have what Mei Lin have shown you. What was the software for concept? Concept station, okay? If you're doing building, there is another software called EcoSim, okay, just for concept. If you're doing a detailed design, okay, there's open road designer, there's EcoSim. If you're moving to site, there is Navigator. So many software you have, okay? So just a bunch of it. If you're doing GIS, a concept, we have Bentley map, is in 3D. Singapore is basically doing 3D GIS now, all right? So it's using our software to do for the whole country for Singapore, all right? And then you have the open roads designer, all right? You have EcoSim. So this is the term that you first time hearing about Bentley EcoSim, which I'll share with you later more on EcoSim. Generative component, all right, this is a very interesting option to consider what if scenarios, okay, and you have the EcoSim green building, we call it energy simulator. You have a lot of MEP capability in here. And then you have the pro structures where you want to do detail, this modeling of steel, concrete, all those things, okay? You can actually use those kind of software to do that. Important part BIM is also specification. All right, so Bentley Specware actually manage all the specification accordingly, and Bentley facilities to manage the asset lifecycle information, okay? And Navigator, as I mentioned, all right, you can bring it onto your mobile's app, whether it's Apple or whether it's Android system, you can actually have. If you go to, let's say, Google Store, if you type Bentley, you should see Bentley Navigator app there. There are a few apps actually. All right, some of the apps you can download and install it, okay? So the model, basically, you can actually bring in from the desktop by using Dropbox, okay? Bentley do have its own collaboration software, which ProjectWise and all those things. Maybe you do not have access for that, but in the meantime, if you have your model on your desktop, whatever, you can bring it into your mobile by using any Dropbox capability. You can do that, okay? And then this is what ProjectWise, one of the main software being used to collaborate, MRT Corp, MRT project that you're seeing, they are basically resized on ProjectWise, okay? Now, if you look at design construction for a typical building, in terms of Bentley solutions, you have the EcoSim, which, as I said, building up your building information. So you get some structural software, STAT. Have you used STAT before? STAT Pro? So you're already on Bentley. So unknowingly, you are using Bentley software. STAT Pro is already part of Bentley. It's been there for a long time. What do you think? You may not know the brand. Okay? So STAT Pro is used for the analysis in EcoSim, so you can actually integrate and all those things. Okay? And EcoSim is the BIM software under Bentley, and then you follow up with the Pro Structures, which basically to do the concrete steel detailing and the information. All right? This is a typical workflow if you are doing buildings. Okay? And at the bottom is ProjectWise, which will integrate all this information. Whether you are in the same office, same campus, or in a different campus, different state, ProjectWise will integrate all this information together. Okay? So multidiscipline building documentation, this is where EcoSim actually resides for Bentley. So whether it's site, utility, roads, architecture, MEP, and many things, even tunnels, is done in EcoSim. All right? So EcoSim is not only for building, it is for any infrastructure projects that you want to do. I understand that if you're talking about Revit, a lot of people knows how to use Revit. It's straightforward building information. But if you're going to do horizontally spread building, okay, EcoSim provides much more versatility in that. Okay, if you're going to do geocoding, geographic information, one thing Revit can't do that is geographic locations. EcoSim does that easily. So many things. That's why it's being used widely in the infrastructure projects compared to just building. Widespread usage of BIM for Bentley. Okay, so EcoSim brand starts from architecture, engineering, construction, operations, simulation. So that's where the EcoSim comes in. All right, and it's just one solution. You have the mechanical, electrical, everything in one. Okay, from concept to complete drawing productions. So when you're talking about data integration, it's easier, all right? And it resides on MicroStation. So MicroStation is the CAD, so it's easier for you to manage those information as well. So you have all this information, you can actually do coordination, clash analysis. Basically, key important thing is building is once you do that, you need to do clash coordination, everything. EcoSim does that quite easily. If visualization is important, fine, you can actually produce great visualization from EcoSim as well. Okay. For the in EcoSim, we do have structural components, so you can define any kind of structural components. All right. Whether it's standard shapes or non-standard shapes. So it doesn't mean that you need to come from, for example, steel. It doesn't mean that it must be a country standard. We have a country standard, UK, and all those things. But if you have a prefabricated size, you can actually model that as well, as you see here. Okay, and then you come and produce all this detailing, produce the analysis. Analysis can be done using StatPro. So from EcoSim, it goes to StatPro. Okay, whatever model you have done in EcoSim, it goes to StatPro. You can analyze that, optimize that, and then update those information in EcoSim. All right. All right, this is just a short video showing you the model of the software in EcoSim. Okay, shows you how the information is being transferred. Now, another software that you should be familiar with is RAM Structural Concept. It's also part of Bentley. You should have the access. If you're doing post-tension buildings and all those things, all right. So RAM will be another software in addition to StatPro. Will be good for you to actually understand. It's being used quite a lot in the industry anyway. So, but this strength is basically in post-tension building design, all right? So what you see here is basically doing the analysis and all those things, final element assessment on the floors, you can actually do that, come up with detailing, and then bring it back to EcoSim, okay? And then you have all this reinforcement information created in EcoSim automatically. So do not need to create manual. Creating reinforcement is a challenge. So if you're going to draw each reinforcement in a beam, it's going to take a long time. So by using this integrated approach, it's easier to actually do that. Okay. So everything in one environment, which is called EcoSim. Plus steel connection design as well. All right. If you're doing steel, all the connection design you can actually produce in EcoSim. So another important part of EcoSim, it does beam coordination, 4D scheduling, okay? So you can actually schedule those information in EcoSim by linking it to project scheduling, whether it's Microsoft Project or Primavera, whatever, you can actually do that in EcoSim, all right? And again, moving to Clash, okay? Another important thing about Bentley software is hypermodeling, okay? Hypermodeling is a good software whereby you can actually represent 3D information, 2D drawings in 3D space. It's easier, all right? And then you have all the quantities and all the stuff. And you have MEP. HVAC system. You can model that accordingly. Okay? Now, if you're going into green building, all right. Now, green building become one of the important aspects of building design, and EcoSim provides the capability to do green building analysis. So, a simple analysis like solar, powers, and all those things you can actually do, solar exposure and everything in EcoSim. All right. So you can actually see when is this information are building. So you have different level of exposure. You can do that. EcoSim, as I said, it actually consists of many capabilities. One of the capability is point cloud. Have you heard of point cloud before? No. All right. It's a different type of survey. Okay. Whereby I'm just showing you this video here. You can see this is a survey of point in a building. Okay. So if it's an existing building, for you to go and create a BIM model, it becomes a challenge. So you have a laser scanner that shoots up millions of points and measure exact location where the component is located. And then you can actually create a feature of your objects. All right? Being used quite widely in buildings, oil and gas companies. All right? So instead of you going there to measure point cloud, it takes much shorter time instead of you creating a BIM model out of that. And then you can actually perform any kind of clash information with the point cloud as well. All right? So technology has moved forward. Earlier you have this conventional survey, then you have LiDAR, then you have point cloud, and now you have another term being used, context capture, whereby converting 2D photograph to 3D. All right? So that kind of concept is also being used in the survey now, because you make an accuracy plus minus less than 3 centimeter. Okay? So it's quite good in sense of initial, but you can improve that plus minus 1 mm if you need to by incorporating some point cloud data together. All right? So some projects being done in overseas, so that's kind of motivation for you. This is Arup projects in Dubai. They are very innovative in their ideas. Okay, so there are many projects being done overseas by using Bentley software. This is the Ferrari-inspired theme amusement park. Okay, so buildings being done by using EcoSim. So if you go to YouTube, you can actually see all these case studies. There are many case studies being done. Okay, Singapore. So you should see that as well. It's also done in Bentley, but nobody knows that. Okay, so it's been done in Bentley software as well. Okay, construction and implementation. And as I said, utilities. Again, these are BIM projects being done in overseas. Okay. So there are many information that you actually can do. Now, if you're interested to look at the final output, EcoSim does provide this information as well directly. You can do visualization, animation, all those things from EcoSim itself, okay, without using any other tool. Okay. Now, as my colleague has shown you, Bentley is not only that, you can actually incorporate in the system. So EcoSim as well works in that area as well. As I said, if you're doing tunnels, all right, if you're doing substations, EcoSim does play an important role in that area as well. Okay. So all this tunnel information, the fixing, the attachment, the MEP component is all done in EcoSim. Similar to the tunnel in KL, all right, it's being done in EcoSim. Okay. As well as 3D utilities. So you can manage all those 3D utilities accordingly. One of the big projects we did was in London. So you should know the cross-trail information, all right? It's done in 21-kilometer twin tunnel, okay? So it's also done by using Bentley solution. Of course, the cross-trail is a bigger, is a very complicated process. There are 100 over companies involved. Integrating all these things together is a challenge. So that is a very big BIM challenge, and Bentley plays the most dominant role in that area. Okay. Again, if you read about Crossrail, you also understand the software being used for that project. Okay. So there are many projects, whether it's road rail, Bentley actually have played an important role. As Meilin had mentioned, there's going to be, this is something that I would recommend if you have time to be there in Singapore. Be there in Singapore. This is the first time actually they're having it in Singapore, in Asia. A lot of time we have what we call a conference, a global conference of users come down to that location. It's always done in UK. Okay? This is the first time they're doing it in Singapore. All right? If you have time, I would say that make time. Attend that. All right? You will basically meet up with all the international users, all international companies. You also understand the key guys from Bentley, solution providers who will talk about actual case study, how to implement, basically exposing you where is Bentley in sense of product. Okay? So it's a good opportunity. All right? Now, another key important thing when it comes to BIM is, it's not only the design you do it in an office, you need to bring the design to site. If you can't bring your information to site to be constructed, all right, so the BIM, purpose of BIM is just for coordination. It's not going to use for construction or asset life cycle. So it's very important to actually look into those areas as well, okay? So Bentley actually provide project-wise to actually help you to do that. It's being used quite widely in the industry, okay? So information mobility is important. That's the reason why I said federated approach actually helps in transferring information to mobility, all right? So mobility meaning that you can run on something that's lighter to be mobile. That means mobile, you can carry a model anywhere you want. It's easier to look at, okay? But it's connected as well to your office. If you have issues, if you want to put a command, normally what you do is you put clouding, right? So those clouding will be transferred to the office, to the design office directly, and then a response will come, okay, what needs to be done? All right? So those are key important things. So there are many mobile information, we can see. There are iPad, there are all those things you can actually use on Bentley software, okay? So Bentley sits on iOS as well as Android in sense of mobility, okay? So you have all those information, you can bring it and you can bring your model onto the iPad and do any kind of clouding, and you can actually share that back with your design office, all right? So you can put commands and all those things directly into your system. So model can be transferred by, as I mentioned, using Dropbox or whatever. It can be shared back to your office through the Dropbox if you need to. But the keyword we use is Bentley project-wise to do that. Now, this is what I'm saying. We have, in a simple example here, we have a person who actually have on mobile, we have a person who actually on desktop. All right? So Bentley actually can connect together. The person in Bentley, in the design office, able to view the same model as compared to the guy who's viewing the model inside. And you can actually chat with the guy in the office and provide any comment that you need. All right? So those are information that you need to integrate when you're actually moving to construction. All right? Information mobility. Another important thing about Bentley is, in addition to hypermodeling, we can actually do augmented reality, AU. Now we're talking about VR, virtual reality, right? Bringing to site. Bentley is moving forward, okay? We are doing augmented reality, meaning that we can actually bring your design and relate to your site information accordingly. So in this sense, you can actually see what's happening, okay? So if you see what's being done here, the model has been broken down, okay? And then you can actually check with your design, okay? How does your design concept, maybe there's a changes you want to do to the building. So when you click on that building, you can actually have the actual V model being displayed in relation to the building space, okay? Similarly to site, underground utilities. So if you bring your underground utilities, you can actually see what's happening underground. Okay? So Bentley can actually do all those things for you by actually being more mobile and looking at new technologies as we are coming upon. So Bentley is completely integrated into those directions. Okay? So reality model, this just to, you have seen most of this information, you can actually do that. You don't need any expert skills. Lumina RT takes about half an hour for you guys to learn. Okay? Reality model is just using the camera, you can do it. There's no special skills required. You can produce this about an hour, not a problem. So, in sense of information is there, but the key word that you're going to look at is BIM. All right? Those are nice information, but it may not reflect a BIM. Okay? It's just to look at your final design, final presentation. It's good to actually sell the idea. Okay? But in order to bring this, you need to be in an integrated process, in a BIM process. Okay? So, the whole purpose of BIM is basically to reduce, be more efficient, okay? And to actually bring it to asset lifecycle. And Bentley actually able to help you there. All right? So don't look at just a desktop software. Bentley do have quite a lot of software. You do not need to know all the software. All right? Bentley have a workflow if you're doing a project for building. So there is a workflow for that particular software. If you're doing infrastructure, there is integrated workflow software being recommended. All right? If you're doing utilities and so on. So Bentley works on workflow and recommend you the best practice by using the Bentley software. Okay? So a lot of this information is available for you. Go to YouTube, explore those capabilities, understand that it's all free, and now you guys have access to Bentley website. You have access to the software, install it and use it. You're already using StepPro anyway. It's already part of Bentley software. All right? So there are many software Bentley have. I believe it shouldn't be a problem for you actually to adopt into your core curriculum. All right? So that's the end of my presentation.
So much.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Mr. Velvet. Before that, is there any question from members of the floor? So far so good? How you guys feel? Tired? Okay, maybe a bit stretched over there and here, maybe. Alright, so we still need to move on. Okay, with our last presenter. So I would like to call upon Dr. Faris, but before that, some brief intro. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Faris Kamidi is from University of Reading, Malaysia. So Dr. Faris has joined UORM on the 1st April 2015. From 2013 to 2015, he was an Associate Professor and Director of Studies for QS, a CPM at Heriot Ward, University Malaysia, while from 2008 to 2013, he was a Senior Lecturer and Leader at UTP. Previously, he was a lecturer at UTHM and was Head of Department of Construction and Real Estate from 2005 to 2007. Dr. Faris sits on the Malaysian Construction Industry Development Board National Level Subcommittee for BIM, and he is a member of the Building Smart Malaysia Chapter Strategic Committee. He is also an authorized certified BIM professional for Revit. He is an active committee member for the Malaysian Green Building Confederation as well as Malaysian Association of Facilities Management. So today we want to welcome Professor Dr. Faris on his topic on the demystifying digital technology from construction site to academic. Welcome.
Tapi tak apalah, saya pakai boleh. Tapi saya nak try ni dulu, audio sikit. Kalau tu kena mic. Cuba try kalau ni tak? Boleh ke? Macam ni boleh. Kalau tu sebab tadi dah time. Okey. Okey, kalau macam tu saya kuatkan dulu maksimum. Saya maksimum. Kena kuat. Okey. Sekejap.